Welcome to November 2018 Energy Trends with Danielle Rama Hoffman of DivineTransmissions.com. This is Toth with infinite oneness and the Tri moving more into the forefront with an expanded intergalactic council flight. We are delighted to be continuing our 2018 Energy Trends exploration. November is a month that has the energies of the entire year within it. For November is an 11 month and 2018 is an 11 year. So from our perspective, we would garner that you are having an accelerated month, that there is a lot of momentum that you've built up in this year, that either you're being invited to slow down and circle into more deeply, and or there's this sense of almost being pushed out or propelled forward or launched, ready or not, here you come kind of way. And those two don't need to be mutually exclusive. You can slow down and integrate and absorb while really moving forward in an accelerated way. So we would bring forward some energy and some light language to invite you to deepen into the full absorption of all that you've chosen in this year thus far. And then really the key of what we're bringing forward in this energy trend transmission, which is that momentum, to be able to maximize the momentum. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Yeah, we'd bring it forward in light language first, and inviting you to tune into your energy system to access what's yours to be and do and have from this transmission, nothing more, nothing less. We are placing these offerings on the altar from the space of equanimity, equality, honoring your free will and conscious choice to pick up and to not pick up, whatever you choose. Hika nankushti wastaka oshti kanasti wakashti wasta. You may imagine to support the absorption of energy. Hishtukushti kananamoshti wastakatiwa. The spiral of the double helix of the DNA. Hushti kananani mostakanti nanamaka. Opening with the energy of love and appreciation. As the DNA spiral opens, there is an even more expansive capacity to integrate or to absorb. As your DNA opens, there's also the possibility to be allowing out or sending out from the DNA anything that you've been carrying that isn't uniquely you or yours back to the source from which it came, or back in the wholeness, back in the oneness. So you can visualize or imagine your DNA having like a pocket, and in this pocket there's like this velvet bag, and inside the bag are all these birds, and the birds represent that which you've outgrown, that which you're not taking with you into 2019 or into the next hour even, and that you're choosing to open the bag, and all of those birds are flying back to the place where they belong. And as the DNA opens, it's like that. You're opening the DNA, and that which isn't you flies back to the source from which it came, back into oneness. And then also, as you open the DNA, there's more space for you to be bringing in those energies that really are uniquely you and yours. Now we know that the double helix is what is spoken about in terms of the physical DNA, yet there are many dimensions to the multidimensional DNA. And this is also positioning for our December energy trends. For December is a very, 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 very multidimensional month. So tapping into not only the double helix in your DNA, but also the multidimensional awareness of your DNA expands your consciousness into being even more multidimensional. Hista kushihina naman katu ukushihina namashtiwa kastikitihina man kushtiwa katante mana kushtiwa hastiwan kutu ushtihikana nimi kativoshtiwa kai ushtiwa anhinima akashti hastiwa kushtiwa hastiwa kutiwa kashtiwan kata ukushtiwa kata ankatiwa hakushiwa katina namo kushtiwa hastiwa ushtiwa stika animi kata unkihina anashtiwa ushtiwa animhina nama hakashtiwa istawa ukushtiwa anihina makatiwa stiwa ushtiwa katina namaka Hakuhushtiwa nanani katatina namastiwa kushihina namastiwa ushiwa astiwa ashiwa ankutiwa stikatiwa nananimo kushiwa katstiwa akatihina namakatiwa stu ohina namakatiwa stiwa anahina anahikushi ikushihina namakushi anahina mo ahayiwushtiwa anahina mokushiwa ikushihina pa ushtiwa ankihina makashiwa ankihina nanimokushi Gabo ungihina naman garing makadibu kushti isa awushtiwa atu ushtiwa anahane makatiwa staka anihina namakashti There is a distinction to be made here that as you open the velvet bag and the birds fly out, it's not that you're letting go of that energy. It's that you're opening the bag and the energy, the birds, go where they belong. We know that's a slight distinction, yet it's one worth making for if you've hung out with us for any length of time, you are aware that we are not proponents of clearing energy. For as you clear it, then often what happens is that then you recycle it and go into a next spiral. We are proponents of permanently completing the energy, bringing it back in the wholeness, back in the oneness, back in the source from which it came, so that it moves from being an active state in your life to going back into the flow of all that there is. So this distinction that we're talking about, it sounds like letting go. It sounds like clearing. You're opening your DNA to let go of something. You're opening your DNA to clear something from the ancestral line. Now, the premise in some ways is the same, yet the pathway is quite different, and therefore the outcome becomes quite different. And the reason also behind it is different, because it's not because there's anything wrong with you or anyone else or anything that you're holding needs to be gotten rid of. It's just not positioned in the optimal environment. And this is a positioning year. So anything that is not positioned in its optimal environment will come up to your awareness. Yes, it's going to be that thing again and again and again and again and again until it goes into its optimal position. This may be gradual or it may be all at once. So the image of you have a bag where, and we know this isn't a very beautiful image. You could even say that you have a cage or you have a net that the birds are within, and you open the net or you open the gate or you open the cage or you open the bag. It clarifies what's your part. Your part is lifting the veil. So your part is opening the bag. Your part is expanding that energy so that then that which isn't yours has a pathway to leave. Hankatiwa kashtankatina namakashtiwa kastiwa katia. So where is it that you have closed down very firmly and holding on to what isn't yours? That this is an invitation for you to open the bag. Open the bag. That's it. You're opening the bag. You're lifting the veil. You're opening the gate. You're opening the cage. You're allowing that which is not uniquely you or yours to return to the space where it is belonging. And it is a little bit like, let's say you've been in a relationship with someone and you have some of their belongings and they have some of your belongings, and you meet and you give each other back your belongings. Or this could be with a friend or a roommate or a job or a partner. That which you had identified as belonging to you, or it had just been in your environment for so long, you thought it belonged to you. Now is the time to be placing that back on the altar, back on the wholeness, back on the oneness, to be opening the bag, and all that does not belong to you, dear one, all that does not belong to you, you are opening a pathway for it to get out of your system. Not because there's anything wrong with it, or you're trying to avoid it, or you're calling it bad, or you need to be ashamed because you've held on to it. None of that. Just open the door. And then it can fly out and go about its business. Not your business. Inkashtikana mostakati wastakantina namastivakastakatin katia. Akushtivakatia kashtivakastia. Where is it that you may have been vibrationally hoarding? That this is the invitation to have greater simplicity in your system. How much easier and more ease-filled is it for you to integrate what's yours when you have the space to do so and you're clear on what is yours? So some of you, as we're inviting you to open the door, open the bag, let the birds fly out, are going, that feels uncomfortable because there's a void and you don't want to just leave it open. Well, it's not that there's a void really. It's that you then are occupying that space that was bogged down with energies that aren't uniquely you or yours. So it's reminding Danielle of an animated film that she saw, Spirited Away. And this film was about spirits that then would kind of need to go in an energy spa. One of the spirits was a river spirit. And in the river, there was an old rusted bicycle and so on and so forth. And that the river can then allow all that isn't the river to go back into the oneness, back in the source from which it came. Good. So we're energetically preparing for our higher purpose of this energy trends transmission. In the remaining days of November, we would invite you to contemplate the word momentum. The word momentum. Maybe even look it up. Maybe even play with it a little bit. Do experiments with it. And notice what would create the most momentum in the rest of this year, in the rest of this month, that then positions you to go into 2019 at a higher octave or at a more authentic octave. And we know that it's tempting to be a catch-all, to really be focusing on everything equally. And we're inviting you to bring your attention very consciously to momentum. Not the momentum of the path of least resistance, yet the momentum that you are forging, that you are utilizing to position yourself in 2019. Hinkatanto ukushtiwa stakana namakashtiwa kati stakanta kashtiwa kati. Ishtanka uhushti namankashtiwa kastia. Now, momentum can have a very 3D feel to it. The momentum of if you're on an 8-story building and you drop a feather out the window or a pebble out the window, the momentum of the gravity that it drops with, or the momentum of fruit falling off the tree. There's some gravity, there's some matter aspects of it. There's some earthly elemental aspects of momentum. We're also talking about momentum as a divine being, awakening to even more of your divine capacities. And some of those capacities will create a lot of momentum are also in the multidimensional planes, or very much in the energetic space. So when you contemplate momentum, you may at first glance be aware of the matter, the material, the 3D aspects of momentum. What would create a lot of momentum in your life if you had a magic wand? And we're also speaking very much about the momentum that you have as a light being incarnate, as you have as a divine being. And so some of that momentum is creating through energy and consciousness. If you have a sense that selling a house, for example, is a choice that's really going to position you in 2019 for a lot of magic, then as you contemplate the momentum, it's not that then you necessarily take 89,000 steps to sell that house. It's that you're also utilizing your capacity to be transmitting energy, to be in vibrational proximity, vibrational matching, so that then when you put your house on the market, it sells. Or there are those synchronicities that you're just talking about it, and then something happens. What will create the most momentum for you? It may be a state of being. It may be that you have been embodying a divine quality like empowerment, and really embodying that empowerment will be something that touches everything, will create a lot of momentum. Or that you've been amplifying your capacity to really be a leader, and that stance of being a leader will create the most momentum. And that requires opening the bag and letting go of some things that you may have been doing or being or having that aren't really in the octave of your highest expression, to make space for what is. Doesn't have to be all at once. You can release the energy of it, and then as it's time, in a way that doesn't blow up your entire world, the reflection of the energy that's been released can start to actualize or manifest. So you can open the bag, and the energy of the house selling, for example, can fly out, that house that was yours that can then become somebody else's. And yet the evolution in that can unfold in the way that's optimal for all levels of your system. And so we would invite you to complete this energy transmission with the energy of appreciation, knowing that that continues to open your DNA so that you have space to be calling in what's uniquely you and yours in 2019 in the higher octave. And you are opening and letting go of all of those energies that aren't yours. And it's not really that you're letting go of them. You're simply making an opening for that which is not uniquely you or yours to belong to the dimension where it truly belongs. All is light, and we are all.